Okay, so today is March 6th. I will be doing a video recap like I normally do, but I'm going to make this a little longer. I'm going to try to upload it to YouTube, so if you only see half of the video, I'm sorry. Maybe I'll break it up and put the other half lower below because I have a lot of news to cover. Hopefully if somebody at Google is able to give me a better account, which gives me more access, it gives me more time, that's great. Obviously the iTunes version or the raw version will be in its full length in one piece. Anyway, so I have a lot of news to cover. My name again is Barry Schwartz. This is the Search Buzz video recap. Today is March 6th, and this is the news we covered over at the Search to Roundtable at seroundtable.com. And we'll get started right after this brief break. I'll make quick. Google seems to have done some type of PageRank update. I'm not exactly sure what it was. We have a report on it on March 2nd. People usually care about these things. I don't. So if you want more information with links to threads and stuff like that, check it out at March 2nd at seroundtable.com. Do you remember last week where we talked about a thread we saw in Webmaster World where it seemed that Google was giving big brands a push for certain types of keywords? So Aaron Wall chimed in as well. A bunch of different people chimed in and about this what we call brand push, and they showed statistics showing how Google seems to, for certain keywords, specifically more generic keywords, was showing more brands, like big names, up in the search results at the top, and the search results drastically changed for those types of keywords. So Matt Cutts over at Google, spam team, search quality team, did a video on I think Wednesday afternoon or so, or Thursday afternoon, and he talked about this. What he titled is Google putting more weight on brands in the rankings in the search results. So Matt Cutts, if you want to take a look at the video, we have a post on March 5th which links to the video. Just go to seroundtable.com, click on the archives, and click on March 5th. You'll be able to see it. And in this video, Matt basically explains why people might be seeing this. So he goes ahead and talks about this change called the Vince change, which was named that because a guy named Vince actually worked mostly on this change. And he says this change he would not consider an update because it's not a major change in terms of the algorithm, but he says it's a minor change. All right, semantic, whatever it is, these are words. Obviously, Aaron Wall, these people at Webmaster World, and all these different types of people out there, SEO specifically, mostly in Webmasters, noticed major changes at Google for these big brand pushes. It seemed to be very major. It changed around some big keywords at Google, in the Google search results, and it made a drastic change to those search results. Matt says obviously searchers don't notice. I'm sure searchers don't notice that much, but it was a major change for some big keywords at Google, for big keywords at Google. Not the long tail keywords, but the big keywords, the big, more generic keywords. That being said, Google's Matt Cutts said it's not really about brands. They don't think about it as brands. He said they look at it more as in trust. He used words like trust, quality, page rank, the value of the page, stuff like that. They're looking more about the value of that site, the value that it provides to the searcher using their, trust algorithms, whatever those might be. Obviously, PageRank is involved in there. They have trust sliders or whatever it might be. And he discussed this over and over again about the value that these big brands might be considered more trustworthy or more valuable than the smaller brands. So obviously, this got into a big debate at the different forums saying, why is a bigger brand more trustworthy than a smaller brand? I know, in my case, Rusty Brick, we are extremely honest and we are very trustworthy, and our clients love us for that. But why would a company like a larger web development shop, a bigger brand like, agency.com, be more trustworthy when they might not be as honest and trusting to their clients as we are, Rusty Brick? I'm not saying agencies, they're probably very trustworthy. I don't know. I'm just giving some random example. That being said, that's the big debate. What makes them more trustworthy? And obviously links, the quality of those links, what's pointing to those sites, in Google's eyes, makes a site more trustworthy. And it's not just about links, obviously. There's a lot of other metrics they're using. So that's probably as traffic and stuff like that. But being bigger, having larger budgets, does that actually make for a more trustworthy brand? Should that equate to Google ranking those sites better because they have more links, they have more quality links? They're not as well known? Not necessarily. I guess it really depends on how you define trust and quality. So obviously, sites. Obviously, Matt's saying, build the best site you can, become that #1 resource out there, and then you too will be in those top rankings. But obviously, as you can see, a lot of people have complaints. About it and about how Google's doing this, and for some very generic keywords, this makes a major impact on some of the smaller players who are trying to compete with the bigger brands. So there's lots of discussion on this at Spin, at Webmaster World, and dozens of forums out there. If you need links to all this stuff and to Matt's video, just go to SERoundtable.com, click on the archives, then click on March 5th, and you'll be able to get that. I'm not sure what's best. I guess they'll test these things in their algorithm, and and they'll make their own decisions. We are just, Webmasters, and Google, holds the keys to this stuff, and they obviously want to do what's best for their searcher and what's best for quality in Google. Last night, there was a story over at Huffington Post about a guy, an AdSense publisher, who sued Google and actually won. Let me summarize the story. It's great. It's really funny, and I think it's just great. So basically, this guy, I think his name was Aaron Greenspan. He had a website. He tried advertising with AdWords. Didn't work out, so he stopped. But then he had a page that was getting a lot of traffic, so he decided to start up with AdSense. He put the ads on AdSense, and then all of a sudden, like many publishers that we see all the time in the forums, his account was terminated. We see this all the time. Accounts are terminated for lots of different reasons, but typically Google doesn't give explicit reasons. They if it's something that they think is a reason for terminating, they terminate the account, and they say very generic things like, in this guy's case, Google told him that his account or his AdSense program posed a significant risk to our AdWords advertisers. So basically, Google said they didn't like what he was doing. But at the same time, this guy had earned, according to his AdSense report, $721 from the clicks he accrued on his AdSense stuff. So over time, he tried going to the Webmaster forum, to the AdSense help forums, posting threads saying, "I need help. Why am I not allowed to? Why am I not getting paid? Why was my AdSense account terminated?" And he also tried calling Google. He tried reaching to Google's lawyers, and he just didn't get anywhere. So he decided one day to actually file a suit in small claims court against Google. He did that on January 15th. He went to the Santa Clara County Courthouse in Palo Alto, which is obviously within the same district as Google, and he filed a small claims lawsuit against Google for $721. The thing cost him $40 to file, and he went ahead and did that. So lawyers are not allowed to go to small claims court, so Google actually sent a paralegal instead. Turned out the guy, so he went to pleaded his case. He basically he basically said, "Why would Google terminate me?" He went through all the things, and he said they never gave me a reason. All they said was that that the publisher, him, actually poses a significant risk for advertisers. So he went through his case, he showed his site, he did all this stuff, and Google's argument was they could go ahead and terminate anybody for any reason they want. But when the judge asked, or when the plaintiff asked the defendant, Google, when the plaintiff asked the defendant, Google, why was I terminated, they were not able to answer because AdSense didn't give this paralegal the information. So back and forth it went, and finally the judge went ahead and ruled in the benefit of the actual plaintiff, the publisher, saying, let me find the quote here. So the judge said, "I don't think I have the power here in Palo Alto Small Claims Court to make you, Google, reinstate his account, but I think you owe this young man $721. He went on to say, "I think there might be money in Google's treasury for that." Basically saying Google has enough money to pay the guy $721 and be done with it. Obviously, that leaves Google open to a lot of these little small claim courts, because all I see in the AdSense forums, dozens and dozens of threads every single day. Why was I terminated? It's not fair. Please get back to me, etc., etc. And this seems to be the only one who actually went ahead and tried to sue for it, for his earnings. And in total, he got $761, the $721 plus the $40 court fees from Google. A pretty interesting story. Again, it's at Huffington Post. we have our post at March 6th, linking to the Huffington Post story if you want to read it yourself, and we have some commentary about that. And you can even check out his original post in the Google AdSense forum, which we link to as well on March 6, 2009 at SEOroundtable.com. Over the course of the past week or two, I've been noticing a bigger spike in the number of people complaining that if they do a search for their business listing in Google Maps, up came their listing, but it said under their listing the place has been closed. It says place closed right under their name. I have a screenshot of a few examples of this at SEOroundtable.com. You can take a look at it on March 6th. I covered this back, I forgot when, maybe a few weeks ago. And I didn't think much of it. I thought just maybe he forgot to, put his hours in his business listing, and that was it. But it turns out that anybody could actually go into any unverified Google Maps listing, Google local business listing, go ahead and edit that listing and say this place should be removed because it's closed. So what I did on March 6th, I went through to Google Maps. I found Microsoft Corporation's listing in Seattle. I clicked on it. It was not claimed, meaning it wasn't verified by Microsoft as being their listing. I went ahead and clicked on the edit button. I then clicked on remove this place, and then I checked off the box. It is permanently closed. And I ordered the comment, I'm just testing this, don't really do it. Then, if you take a look at the listing today, right now, it shows that there has been a removal request. If this wasn't Microsoft, I would assume, in some cases, if it's a small business and Google's unable to verify it, they might go ahead and process it and say it's been removed. That's why I think the number of complaints about my business listing being marked as place closed has been on the incline, because a lot of people are doing this, and for small businesses it's hard for Google to validate it. If they call the number, maybe there's no answer, Google will go ahead and say, it must be closed down. But it seems like they won't do that obviously for Microsoft. That's why I picked Microsoft, because they know Microsoft's still in business. But it's interesting to see how easy it is for others to mark their competitors or anybody else's as being closed. So I went ahead and blogged this, wrote a detailed thing about it, how it works, and I'm hoping that Google makes it even harder to actually do this. Obviously, this is called the community edits, and it's made for people to actually interact with maps and Google to get better data, but it obviously can be used in evil ways and by people who want to close down their friends' or competitors' business. And it has to be taken seriously. So we did a post about it. You can take a look at the details on how to actually do this on March 6th. Obviously, don't go ahead and go in there and go ahead and wipe out your competitors, but you should know about this and make sure to claim your business so that your competitors cannot do this to you, because this doesn't work on claimed businesses, I don't think. Now I'm going to talk to you about Google emailing webmasters with site issues such as malware attacks or why their site has been penalized in Google, stuff like that. Let me give you some history. In September 2005, Google began emailing webmasters about violations or hack attempts on their website. Then back in March 2006, Google started stepping up those notifications, and we're reaching out to more and more webmasters on a frequent basis to notify them about issues such that they could address to either comply with Google's terms of service, their web search terms of service, or to fix their, apparent hack in their on their site, because people can hack sites. Then in May 2007, fake emails started going out from people, I think, in Germany, claiming to be Google and scaring these people that they will be delisted because they got hacked. And these emails went out and out several times, over and over again, and it was an issue for Google. So Google decided to, in July 2007, to create a message center in Webmaster Tools, Google Webmaster Tools, and in that Webmaster Tools, you'll be able to log in and securely see if an email came legitimately from Google or not. So Google stopped really sending out emails because of that issue, and they just sent these notifications within the Webmaster Tools console. But then we had these people who don't know about Webmaster Tools, who have websites, who have been hacked, or who have violations that they just aren't aware about. So Google asked, I think at XMX, Matt Cutts asked, I think at XMX, if Google should start sending out these notifications again. Obviously, it's hard to validate these notifications, but most people said yes, they want to be told if they have malware on their site and if there's violations on their site. So Google, I think, started stepping up these notifications again at via email to people who have malware attacks and stuff like that. And I've been seeing a lot of reports in the different forums from people saying, I've got this email from Google, what is it? And basically the email says, these are the problems, outlining all the problems in an automated fashion, and then telling them if they want to validate this, go to the Google Master Tools, log in, verify your site, and you'll be able to see this. So So this is a way for Google to actually notify people, give them a way to validate it without any security risk, and hopefully everybody's a happy camper and webmasters know when their sites are hacked into, and Google is able to clean up their index from any malware issues or hack attempts and stuff like that. So it's nice to see Google starting to up the amount of emails to webmasters. It's a nice service they're doing. All right, so we're at 15 minutes already. A lot more topics to cover. Hopefully you guys like the extended version. If you don't, definitely comment and let me know. The next topic I want to talk about is Microsoft testing a new search feature, a new maybe brand called Kubo. It's basically their code name for their search engine. Microsoft has been using lots of different brands for their search engines. They had Microsoft Search, MSN Search, Live Search, Windows Live Search, and maybe now Kubo. We don't really know. So this past week, they released screenshots to the press saying, this is what we're working on. It's pretty cool. Danny Sullivan has a nice write-up, as so does Vanessa Fox at Search Engine Land. If you want to take a look at all the features it has things like search suggestions. It breaks things into categories. It has very nice features, 2 panes and stuff like that. But I thought you should be aware about it. We don't know exactly when it's going to be released, or if it's going to be named Kubo or Live or Microsoft Search, or what it will come out to be. But I'll admit that I was wrong. I thought Microsoft by now would have significant market share growth against Google by now, and it seems like they have not really made any dent at all in Google's search market share. So I was clearly wrong about that. I thought about that. I wrote a post about that back in 2004, where I was nervous about Microsoft actually competing like they did with IE, Internet Explorer versus Netscape. But I guess I was totally wrong. But if you want to take a look at this post and Kubo and features like that, take a look at March 4th, SEOroundtable.com. Friday afternoon, a week ago today, I wrote a post about Ask.com, where I said Ask.com is crossing the line. What they have been doing now is framing search results. So if you do a search for iPods at Ask.com, then you click on the first result or any of the results. Let's say you go to Apple's iPod page. It would actually not take you to Apple's iPod page. It would frame the result at the top, saying Ask.com, iPod, and stuff on the top. This way you're in a frame and you see the Ask.com search bar. And at the bottom it would show, right under the frame, it would show the actual Apple website. This way, in that bar they have a big search box. You can do more searches at Ask. There's a related searches shown at the top. Plus you could actually turn off that feature or return to Ask.com. So obviously we have a comment from Nicholas over at the PR team at Ask.com. And let me see if I can find it. Basically, he's saying they've been testing this feature out, and they continue to test it. They said the early feedback has been positive. What else are they going to say? And they feel that basically it provides people a way to be able to find better search results after they're not able to find it. I think it's a way of generating more queries, and help obviously generating more queries is what the search market share is all about. Obviously, also they have a way to disable it by clicking on a little X button. So if they don't like it, they can get rid of it. So that's the Ask.com's response. A lot of people are upset about that. Some people find it useful. It really depends on who you are. I personally think they've stepped over the line. Search engines should not do that. People know how to use a back button. And if they need to go back to the search results, they're able to do that. Ask.com has originally done this in the past, a long time ago. But now they stopped doing that for a while, and now they seem to be doing it again. Google site links. They've been around for a really long time now. I guess a few years now. When they first came out, they were on a single line. It was just like, they had site links are basically the little links you find under a search result in Google, which provides internal navigation links to pages like Contact Us, About Us, or the most popular pages on that site. Typically, what you see now in Google is when you do a search for a site and up comes the Google results, you see these site links. You see 2 columns with about 8 links in total. So you have 4 rows with 2 columns of internal links from that site. Sometimes it's less, sometimes it's never more than 8, but sometimes it's less than 8. But it's usually in the 2-column format. When they finally announced it was in a single column format, showing just 4. But when they originally started testing it, it was actually in a single line. What we're now seeing is people reporting in the UK on certain browsers. I think it was IE or maybe Firefox. When they do some searches for certain keywords and they see site links, it's actually on 1 line. That's what the classic site links were about when we first reported about it back in, I think it was, August 5th, 2005, we first reported about it. It was in a single line. And now people are starting to notice it again on a single line. And in the UK only, I think only using Firefox. I'm not exactly sure, but I think it's Firefox. We have some pictures of this in action, and we have links to other discussion around it. If you want to take a look at that, March 6th, 2009 at SEOroundtable.com. Well over a month ago, we posted a poll over at our site asking SEOs how do they feel about the supplemental index. Years and years ago, the supplemental index was a very, very popular topic in the forum. Basically, the supplemental index is Google's secondary index, which they don't update as much and they don't keep as fresh. And then sometime about a year or so ago, I forgot what it was. Let me just take a quick look. They dropped their supplemental index, and that was on August 2007. So a couple of years ago, they decided to drop the supplemental, not index, but the tag. So when you do a search in Google, they used to show a supplemental result tag next to that search result. They dropped it because it caused a lot of concern for webmasters, but they said they dropped it because the supplemental index is no longer not up to date, not fresh, and stuff like that. It's actually very up to date. And they constantly freshen it up and stuff like that. But there still is a supplemental index. It's just not shown to SEOs or webmasters or searchers. It's still there. So I did a poll a month and a half ago asking SEOs and webmasters, are they concerned about it? And we have the results. Overall, most SEOs are still concerned over it. 40% of the people who responded said they are somewhat concerned. 30% said they are very, very concerned. And only 30% say that they are not concerned at all. So a total of 70% are concerned on some level with the supplemental index, even though Google dropped it. I'm sure those results would have been a lot higher. I'm sure you would have seen a lot more people very concerned and somewhat concerned than I'm sure with the supplemental index if Google was still labeling it as with a supplemental tag. But now that Google hides it, has helped the problem somewhat in terms of relieving SEOs and webmasters' anxiety, but not fully. So I'm not sure what Google will do now, but it was a good move originally, and hopefully I see a lot less threads about it. I used to see threads all the time, so it obviously has helped a lot. The question is, there is some still concern out there. We're in a recession. Google keeps doing things to make more and more money. This week they announced a new Adsense type of ad, which is basically an expandable ad. It shows a simple ad. It asks you to click on it. If you click on the ad, it expands and overlays on top of the content on that page. It's an expandable ad. They're very annoying for a lot of people, but yet you have to click on them to introduce them. Clicking on them to expand them does not cost the advertiser money. Only clicking on the ad to go to a landing page actually costs the advertiser money. The question is, what tactics will AdSense publishers go through to actually encourage people to click on the ad? And obviously, according to Google's terms of service, you cannot encourage people to click on ads. Is it okay to click on the ad to expand it? But then once you expand it, is it not okay to ask them to click on the ad to go to the advertiser site? I don't know. Our post on that is on March 5th, SEOroundtable.com. Earlier this week, on March 2nd, we did a post about European advertisers, Google AdSense advertisers, being upset with the actual currency they actually got from Google, the currency exchange rate on their latest paycheck. What they gave was an exchange rate of about 1.30. What the current exchange rate was 1.26. So they were very upset in terms of how the exchange rate worked out to hurt them. On March 4th, Google announced that they are now providing AdSense reports both in euros and also US dollars. And obviously, these publishers can actually choose to be paid in euros as opposed to dollars, which might help them with the exchange rate if that's something they're interested in, because they'll pay directly in euros. If you want to learn more about this, it's only affecting people who are publishers who are in France, Germany, Italy, Netherlands, or Spain. Others are not affected by this. Google might release more payments and currencies in the future. There's more information about this on our March 4th post at SEOroundtable.com. Since we're on the topic of AdSense, in addition to what we discussed about the euros, Google also released a new AdSense login page. It caused a lot of people not being able to log in because of some caching issues. For I think a full day, people were complaining about not being able to log into their AdSense account. But there is a new AdSense login page. In addition, there were a lot of complaints about their AdSense stats being very lagged or delayed. That complaint is still going on today on March 6th, and it continues. It was started from March 4th or so. So if you want more information about that, March 4th at SEOroundtable.com. In addition, since I'm on the Adsense topic, there are a lot of publishers who are complaining that they have yet to receive payment from Google for several months already. Google has confirmed this, and it's been going on since, I think, early January, where some publishers still have not been paid by Google since early January, already in March, and not going to get paid till the end of March. Google said this has to do with a hold bug they had, and they're trying to fix it, and it should be resolved by the end of this month, and all publishers will be paid by the end of this month. But what about the past 3 months, which they haven't been paid? All right, I'm almost done here. A couple more topics. We noticed on March 3rd that a lot of people have been complaining over and over again over the course of several months, over the course of the past few weeks or a month or so, that AdWords titles and the search results are longer than 25 characters. The question is, what type of bug is allowing this to happen? I got lots of reports over the course of the several weeks saying, how is this happening? I sent to Google an email. They said it's a bug. It shouldn't happen. They did not change their AdWords policy regarding the number of characters allowed in a title, so it must have been a bug. They fixed those mistakes, but now I'm seeing more and more people complain about this. There must be some type of bug somewhere, maybe in the AdWords editor, maybe using dynamic keyword insertion, maybe in some type of tool where you can actually edit the ads. I'm not exactly sure, but it's happening a lot more often. If you have this problem, we have links to threads on March 3rd at SEOroundtable.com. Hopefully some good news for people out there. And obviously, we're in a recession. It's really impacting a lot of businesses. I hope it's not impacting you too much. But I've been seeing I saw a thread at High Rankings Forum where people are saying business has been improving recently for them. They noticed this past week specifically that they've been getting a lot more calls, a lot more sales leads, and closing a lot more sales than they have in the past. Some people said the past 5 months have been dead, but past 2 weeks now, unbelievable, they said for them. I can honestly say the same thing, honestly. It's weird. The past 2 weeks, we've been getting a lot more sales calls. We don't really do SEO per se, but we do web development. We get a lot more leads. We closed a few more sales this week, and we're doing a lot more business, I think, this week, as opposed to how dead it was earlier. The economy has not even been that good. It's been horrible, actually. Yesterday was a horrible day in the economy. Dow was down another 200 points or so. And it's just interesting to see how the economy keeps getting nailed, but maybe there is some type of turnaround coming on. I don't know. I'm no economist or anything like that, but hopefully this is going to be the sign for the future, and hopefully this will be a big change for our business, the web business, and things will start to change for us. There's a poll on Friday, March 6th. Please take up the poll. It's an anonymous poll. Tell us how your business is doing, and be honest, and it'll be great to see how you are doing over the recession, and hopefully things are improving for you. And hopefully, if not, they will improve very, very soon. Finally, on March 3rd, 2009, 339, it was Square Root Day. A lot of people celebrated Square Root Day. It doesn't happen that often, so it was a pretty good big day for people over the geek world. The next time it happens is April 4th, 2016. We had a little theme up for the day, a little Square Root Day. Google didn't have anything. None of the sites had anything really for that day. But Google did Twitter saying Happy Square Root Day from all of us at Google, and linked to a search results for the square root of 9, which equals 3. 339. Anyway, Happy Square Root Day if you missed it, and hope you enjoyed. Anyway, this video is about 3 times the length. It's be about 30 minutes or so. If you do like the longer format, do let me know. If you don't, let me know. This way I'll shorten it up. And I definitely don't feel rushed. It helps me talk and say my mind and say the news properly, I hope. So anyway, thanks for listening. Definitely give me your feedback. I really want your feedback. This was a Search Brothers video recap. My name again is Barry Schwartz. Today is the March 6th edition. Check all the news at SEOroundtable.com. Everyone,